Welcome to our college football game of the weekend. It's a big one down there in the SEC. It's going to be the 7th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs taking on the 9th-ranked Florida Gators. I'm your college football host, Mr. Vincent Turner. Joining me is my partner in crime, very talented, Mr. Paul Ploener, as we're going to break down the game, the world's largest cocktail party. If you like the show, before we get started, click on the Amazon link and you see some beautiful jerseys from the University of Georgia and Florida. So let's get this party started. So Mr. Ploener is going to break down the Georgia Bulldogs in their quest to beat the number 9 team in the country, the Florida Gators.
Yes, and number 7, Georgia. They've fallen a little bit in the rankings. A couple of weeks ago, they were number 2.
Why you look at me with some bass in your voice? Because I got Florida.
That's
okay,
all right.
I mean, we ain't on the field, man. We're just talking about the game. Now we're in Jacksonville.
I know, but both teams are 6-1. Okay, Georgia lost to LSU 2 weeks ago, where Florida lost to Kentucky, and that was at the Swamp. So Georgia is coming in as a 7-point favorite, but they have a lot to prove against Florida after a flat game versus LSU. And I guess my question to the Georgia football team is, where was your running game against LSU? Only 113 yards rushing. So I think they're going to have to step up their rushing game, and I think they can do it with quarterback Jake Fromm, number 11, 67% completion rate, 13 TDs, and 4 interceptions. 2 of them were against LSU. Still has 170.4 quarterback rating. And, of course, number 1, Justin Fields, 136 yards rushing. He's actually the 5th leading rusher on the University of Georgia with limited time, 72% completion rate. And, of course, number 13, Elijah Holyfield, should have gotten the ball more 2 weeks ago against LSU. 7.5 yards per carry, 4 TDs. DeAndre Swift, 5 yards per carry, 4 TDs. And, of course, wide receiver McCall Hardman, 24 receptions, 4 TDs. And number 8, Riley Ridley, 25 receptions and 5 TDs. Of course, their defense, Georgia defense, is good. We talked about their scoring defense is very high in the nation, and they're in the top 10, allowing 174 yards passing and 174 yards rushing, and 136 yards passing per game. The backfield, defensive backfield is really strong for Georgia, and I'd like to talk about 3 of their DBs. Number 2, safety Richard LeCompte. He is really a great tackler. He's got 40 tackles, and when he hits, he's in the mix. Number 20, he's a cornerback, as J.R. Reed. He's got a great pedigree, NFL players in his family, 33 tackles and 1 interception. And, of course, number 18, DeAndre Baker. He's probably going to be an All-American this year, 26 tackles, 2 interceptions, and he's the best cover corner that they've got. And, of course, we can't not talk about number 15, DeAndre Walker, 19 tackles and 5 sacks. And I have to say that we're going to break down how this game is going to go. It's going to be in Jacksonville. It's considered a neutral site. That means half the fans will be for Georgia, half the fans will be for Florida. There will be no home field advantage per se. And I guess the key is, how is Georgia going to react to their loss? And I think Kirby Smart, the coach, he's a great coach, and I think he's got the talent. I think he knows what to do to straighten things out, and he knows what's at stake. Of course, Florida has momentum, 4 straight wins after the loss to Kentucky. But last week, Florida struggled against Vanderbilt and was lucky to walk out with a win, allowing 27 points against Vanderbilt, which is really even though they've got a good quarterback, but overall their offense is really not that good. UGA has a better offense, and I think they'll exploit the weaknesses in Florida's defense, especially in their defensive backfield. They're going to be playing a lot of freshmen, and they've had injuries. And last week they lost their one guy, Wilson, who was a starter, to a knee injury, and he's not going to be playing. So they're going to be playing a lot of second stringers and freshmen in their defensive backfield. So Georgia, with their talented wide receivers and quarterback who can throw very accurately, Jake Fromm will be able to exploit that. Obviously, on the defensive side, Georgia needs to put a lot of pressure on Felipe Franks when he's running around. I mean, he can run around, but he really doesn't like to, and they keep him uncomfortable and make him throw the ball quickly before he's ready. And I think Georgia can right the ship. If you got Kirby Smart and too much talent to lose this game, Georgia will stop the Florida running game. They need to do that because and keep that running game under 200 yards, because they got the P. Ryan and Scarlett are pretty good, but I have to say Georgia's got the defense and the offense. They're going to win this game. It's going to be close. I think it may even be a 3-point game. Georgia 30, Florida 27.
Well, you brought up some good points as always, Paul, but today I'm going to only disagree with you. I want you to look at this right here. That's called the Gator Chop at a high level. Dan Mullen has got this football team playing at a high level. It's nothing that he's doing anything fancy. Florida's going to come out and they're going to run the football. They're going to try to control the line of scrimmage. And what I saw 2 weeks ago, Georgia had some problems stopping the LSU running game. Jordan Scarlett is what you call, he's a back that's going to run between the tackles. Granted, Philippi Franks, the quarterback, he hasn't played all that great, but you know what? The main stat I like, 15 touchdowns, 5 INTs. So he's not turning the ball over like he did in his first 2 years under center. And Dan Mullins had a lot to say with that. DeAndre Baker, for Georgia, you're a great football player, brother. No question about it. You're probably first-team All-American. But let me tell you something. Sean Jefferson, former coach of the Atlanta Falcons, his son Van Jefferson is bringing it. The transfer from Ole Miss, what he got this year? 19 receptions. Let me get my stats right. He leads Florida 19 receptions, 265, but he got 5 touchdowns on the year. So don't get it so much unscrewed here that Florida cannot throw the football. Mr. Baker will be tested. Then you talk about Florida's defense, Paul. True enough, they might be starting some freshmen at the corner, but they still got C.J. Henderson, who's, I'm looking at one of the NFL top corners when he comes out. Trey Dean was a 5-star prospect. Brad Stewart has been playing lights out the strong safety position. Remember him, Paul? That's the guy that had that touchdown interception return against LSU at the end of the game. I'm just telling you that. Then you're looking at this team, Florida's defense, 21 sacks on the year. They're only giving up 16 points on the year. Their linebacker core might be the best in the country. Vincent Joseph, David Reese. You had a problem. You didn't mention that either. And then Paul Ploener had 7 sacks on the year. This is a very good Florida Gators football team that's going to bring a lot of wood to Georgia on Saturday. And the last time I checked, you better do this if you're the University of Georgia. Jake Fromm, as I told you, Paul, he's a pocket passer. He's not going to beat you with the legs. For Florida, I'm going to tell you this. Just be ready to face a lot of Justin Fields on Saturday. Oh, he's going to play a lot. But that being the case, that's not going to be enough to beat the Gators. I'm taking the Gators in a very close one, as Mr. Ploener say, 20-17. If you like the show today, come in and share. We appreciate you. Your final words, Mr. Ploener.
Go Dogs! Woof, 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 woof.
And I'm going to say, go Gators. Before we end the show today, I want to send out a shout to the University of Arkansas school I graduated from, to one of the #1 fans today. He was my first cousin, Samuel Turner. He died of a massive heart attack yesterday at the age of 58. I'd like to say many prayers to my people back home in Memphis and Conway, Arkansas, and Pine Bluff. I love you, cuz. Rest in peace. And thank you for watching 100 Yards of Football today.